Is it Mark live yet, or? Hello? Hi. Good evening, and welcome to the Town Council Candidates Forum. I'm Joan Livingston, the Managing Editor of the Taos News. I'm happy to see a full house here tonight. And for those who can't be here in person, we're fortunate to have live coverage over the internet on taosnews.com, taos22.com, and taosgov.com. The town of Taos has 10 candidates actively running for 2 spots on the council in the March 1st election. They are, in alphabetical order, Philip Alexander, Nathaniel Evans, Darian Fernandez, Jeffrey Hammerman, Paul Campreth, Pavel Lukes, Pascualito Maestas, Roger Martinez, Robert Molino, and Melaton Struck. David Cortez notified us he has suspended his campaign, although his name is still on the ballot. Our purpose in holding this forum is to let voters hear directly from the candidates about where they stand on issues concerning the town. The candidates will have 2 minutes to give an opening and closing statement. In between, we will have 3 rounds of questions in which the candidates will have 2 minutes to answer. During the first 2 rounds, the questions will be drawn randomly. In the third, the questions will be directed specifically at a candidate. Susan Cady, Executive Director of the Taos County Chamber of Commerce, will keep track of the time and alert the candidates when their time is up. Susan has been our timer for the past few years, and I'm really grateful. Probably the biggest applause tonight. And to mix things up a bit, we will have 4 lightning rounds. I will pose a question, and we will go down the line of candidates who will give a yes or no answer. As in past forums, the Taos News editorial team has come up with the questions, with contributions from a few readers. We have not disclosed the questions ahead of time to the candidates. And we will rotate who gets to go first in each round. Finally, to keep this a friendly and efficient forum, we ask that members of the audience hold their applause until the end of the forum. So let's begin with the opening statements. And Phil, you are first.
Is this on? Yeah, okay. Hi everybody. I'm Philip Alexander. I live down at the Not Forgotten Respite Center. It's located in Sunset Park. That's where I've residing for the past few months, and it's enjoyable. I work with the veterans there and the rest of the Not Forgotten Outreach. I've lived in Taos since 1998, except for the time between 2003 and 2011. I was back and forth here in Taos. I was doing military service during the conflicts in the Middle East. And then every time I got a chance, and every time I was off military service, I came back home. And now, when my military service was over in 2011, I returned back to Taos. I have family here. I've had family in Las Cordovas for, what, Mom, a couple hundred years now? Yeah, okay. And I call Taos my home, even though I was raised abroad. I was raised all over the southern, southwest part of the country. My father was in the Marine Corps for nearly 30 years, went to 16 different schools, 5 different colleges, and I've been exposed to a way diverse life with very many diverse people. So that's one thing that I like about that in me, and that's me in a nutshell. I'm here to run for town council because a few years ago I've seen that I needed change in Taos. I've been watching since the last election, learning, coming to the council meetings and seeing what needs to be done here in Taos, and I think I'm ready to help that happen as we progress and grow. I think growing here in Taos is going to be a challenge, but we're also going to be able to work together with the other entities here in this county and make it a better place for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome and thank you to all the people here and to the people online. I'm a first-generation Taoseño. I grew up here in Taos. I traveled to Ohio to get my bachelor's in science and biology, where I worked as an EMT and firefighter for 3.5 years. I traveled to Oaxaca, where I worked for Desarrollo de la Familia, teaching first aid and CPR to the colonias, to the underserved people in Mexico. I returned to Taos in 2003 and started teaching 7th and 8th grade math and science at Taos Charter School. I've been there for the last 12.5 years. I work on the governing council, setting policy for our school, and I've been on the on the budget committee for the last 8 years, managing $1 million budget. I understand state procurement procedures and also the audit process. I believe that I will be a good candidate for the Town of Taos Council. There are certain things that we need to work on in terms of youth opportunity. We can upgrade the technology at the Youth and Family Center. We can upgrade the technology at the library. We also need to provide drug and alcohol-free events for our middle and high school students who are at risk. And we need to continue to support the collaboration with the local nonprofits that are doing a great job with our youth. We also need to have walkable and bike paths that bring us to our parks, to our schools, and to our local businesses. We need to make Taos more livable. One other issue that needs to be on the forefront of all of us is affordable housing. We are 600 units short in this town, and that is not okay to maintain what Taos is. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Darian Fernandez. I know many of you in this room, and many of you know me from my prior campaigns a couple years ago. In fact, I think I'm in the running with Pavel to see who can keep at this the longest. Anyway, I came here tonight with a prepared opening speech, and on my way here, I decided that that really wasn't good enough. And here's why. Last night, there was a planning and zoning meeting in this very own council chamber to discuss, a proposed rezoning of the cow's pasture from residential R14 to a commercial C2 development. A lot of people that are in this room tonight were here last night and had very passionate things to say about the community. And it's that passion that everyone else shares in the community that really motivated me to run for office in the first place. To not just have that passion, but to get involved at a higher level and be that candidate who will listen to your concerns and who may not always, have the support on a vote, but at least will give you, a fair amount of time to say what you have to say and be very respectful. What I've learned in the last 2 years is that Taoseños are not really interested in someone always talking about what we need. We know what we need. What we really want, though, in office is someone who will listen to you. And ladies and gentlemen, I am your candidate. I will listen to you. I will bring hard work to this job. I have numerous involvement in nonprofits, currently a member of Stray Hearts Board of Directors. In the past, I've worked with Taos Alive, a substance abuse nonprofit program. So, I know these issues. I've worked them firsthand, and I am your candidate, and I will listen to you. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey Hammerman. I've been in Taos now over 10 years. I came out of the love when I came into this area. When I first took a turn saw the gorge, I just fell in love with this place. I just knew I was home. I'm a dentist, so I've been a businessman here in Taos, and I've learned how to try to work through things. We employ about 7 people, and there are a lot of issues, and one of the biggest issues that we have right now is finding a good economic engine to be able to have people stay here, work here, and make a good living. And if we get a good economic system going, we could end up, having a lot more GRT, all these things working for the, what we need to get done in the city. One of the other things I've been involved with is I was actually part of the Taos Bridge Club, And one of the things we ended up doing this past couple of years is we've ended up going from a very small club, and this past year we had over 800 people here for a week. We estimate that we ended up bringing $1 million into the facilities here. These are the kind of things we need to get. And one of the bigger things that we can get here is there's really a need for the recreation here to be increased. And we have to take advantage of the rising tide that comes with the rebuilding of the ski valley and also with the Rio Grande Monument. These are wonderful opportunities for us to become a more complete, offering of what we can be as a resort and also what we could also be as a sports area. All the sports things that we can do here are just amazing if we can just take advantage of it. Anyway, thank you very much for your time, and hope we can help you out.
Hi, good evening. My name is Paul Camprath, and I'm running for town council because Taos is my home too, and like everybody else, I love Taos. And I know that I can contribute to a better future. I have extensive experience in policy development and community improvement. I learned three things while I was analyzing issues and determining policy for the state legislature, and we approached everything this way. What is the problem? What is the current situation? And how will our decisions solve that problem? Knowing the history and culture of the town certainly helps. Understanding the current environment and people's opinions is essential. My previous experience has taught me to listen carefully and research thoroughly. I've served on the steering committee of an historic neighborhood association for which tradition and preservation is paramount, much like in Taos for the people here. We took our issues to the city council and all the way to the state legislature. I'm accustomed to advocating for quality policy. I've also served at the state legislative level on issues from agriculture and appropriations to ways and means, which is taxes and revenue, of course, and water, meaning that I've dealt with people much like Taoseños whose daily lives are affected by these issues. I don't think anyone here really has heard all the perspectives or has all the information. I will keep an open ear and not predetermined solutions. I believe my experience makes me the most valuable candidate in this race. We must consider where are we now, what do we want, and how are we going to get there. Please let me help you find a way to answer these questions. Thank you.
Hello, I'm back. It was the last minute decision for me to do this, and there's a person in the back in the red jacket who's partially responsible for that decision. I thank the Chamber of Commerce, the Taos News, and all of you who showed up tonight, not realizing that when the meeting is over, it's going to be minus 50 degrees. I came to this country when I was 19. My brother was 20. We came at the invitation of a professor from the University of Michigan. And it just happened that the same day we landed upon these shores in New York, the Russians decided to invade our country. So from the summer getaway and exciting trip, it became an endless summer for us. And I lived in Michigan, I lived in California, and I have lived in Taos the longest I've ever lived anywhere, 22 years. And I call Taos my home because of the hospitality, the friendships of all local families, the Silvas, the Durants, the Peraltas, the Gonzalez, Ortiz, Cantu, and I could go on, and don't get offended if I missed some of the names. In the quiz that the Taos News put out, one of the questions was, what do you see as the most important issues facing Taos today? My answer to that is, number one is voter turnout. Number two is who you elect as your two next council people. Because there is so much work, and you have heard some of the issues. It's like an avalanche of issues that you have to cope with, but you can't cope with them all. You gotta do one at a time. You gotta have a sense of goals and accomplishment. And I, as a businessman in Taos, I have a very, very viable track record, serving 12 12 years on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
You're done, Phil.
Already?
Sorry.
I was just getting warmed up.
Good evening, fellow Taoseños. My name is Pascualito Maestas. I'm a graduate of Taos High, a Navy veteran, and a graduate of the University of South Florida with academic degrees in economics and international studies. I currently teach calculus and algebra 2 at Taos High School. I'm seeking a seat on the town council today on behalf of the younger generation. Millennials, as we are called, have come of age. We have been forged in the fires of the recession and emerged burdened with debt and the poor decisions made by politicians at every level of government. We have come to realize that our lives will be incredibly difficult as we face the unknown consequences of climate change, income inequality, and power concentration. We questioned why the way the world is when we were young, and we were told that's just how politics work. But we don't believe that to be true. Now that we've come of age, it is time for us to inherit this earth and remake it in our own image. We dismiss the notion that a living wage is unattainable. We dismiss the idea that there is nothing we can do to fight global warming. And we dismiss the thought that government can't be transparent and work for the people. I'm happy to see a nationwide resurgence of these ideals. Discussions about the future are happening everywhere around the country right now, including right here in our own town. I'm running for town council because I believe we need change at every level of government, and I want to help facilitate that change for the only place that I can call home, Taos. It is my hope that after tonight's forum, you will become a believer that we can change. Believe that we can expect more from our government and get it. Believe that our community has the willpower to become a leader of the future instead of stuck stagnant in the past. Believe that 2016 will be remembered as the year we cleaned up our community and took a step toward the future. If you believe, I ask for your vote this election. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Roger Martinez. I am from Taos, generationally. I've been here, my family's been here since day 2, I believe. I graduated from Taos, went through the school system here, went to college in Santa Fe, got a degree in social work, and I've been doing that kind of work ever since. Right now, I'm the executive director of the Taos Men's Homeless Shelter, and I've been enjoying the support my community, each of you, has been giving to the shelter. We really appreciate that. There are many issues facing Taos today. Growth is one of the huge issues. Green, the youth, the arts, public safety, business needs, the nonprofits, planning and zoning, water, tourism, culture and historic needs. There's all this. Taos has balanced it for years, and I believe with what I can offer, we can continue to balance it and build on that. We do need to grow, but we need to grow responsibly. There's a lot of growth that Taos has gone through, some of it done very responsibly, other not so well. I have much experience in leading organizations. I've been the president of my pastoral council with Our Lady of Guadalupe Church. I'm involved with the Knights of Columbus. I've been the Grand Knight and led to the group to many awards that the council has never seen before. I was made district deputy, and I'm serving in so many different ways.
Okay.
10 more seconds. And so I know I have the leadership skills to bring to this position, and I look forward to working with everyone. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Robert Molina. I come from the south. I'm from Mesquite, New Mexico. And one of the things that working for the town of Taos for about 12 years, going back and forth on the streets, I know the needs of a lot of stuff that it has to be done on streets. Working with the different departments of the town of Taos, we have to know how to work with them and how to help them to get a better department working for us. I don't promise anything because I don't want to dishonor my family or dishonor anybody from the town of Taos or Taos County. I used to travel to Albuquerque for 8 years with Naval Sea Cadets. There's young people from 11 to 17. Now I'm a volunteer for Civil Air Patrol here in Taos. We're trying to put the Civil Air Patrol kids on this group. So if, I don't have no experience on politics or anything like that, but the only thing I can tell you, I will not dishonor anything, my family or anyone from the city or the town of Taos. Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Melly Dunstruck. I'm a candidate for the Taos Town Council. As a past council member and participated in many community activities. I learned from much about various people and topics. One thing that I learned throughout my career as being an ex-council member is I learned from two good persons and learned a lot from them. And that was from when I first came into the council, from Mayor Peralta, nice to see him out there, and Bobby Duran. I learned a lot from both of them. The only thing that I had a hard time with, both of them had different styles. So it was hard to adjust to them, but they did a great job for the town of Taos. And I hope to get involved with our mayor now. That'll be 3 of them, which I don't know if it'd be hard to get involved with. Used to him. I think my experience in the city council and local government affairs will be an asset to the citizens of Taos. I'm running for the office because I believe I can make a difference in town government and assist various programs, policies, the way of life in our community. I'm a good listener, independent thinker, and open-minded person. I appreciate your attention in this forum and considering in the voting booth that enable me to work on top of my 3 priorities. One of them is roads. The other one is work with the Taos County to preserve the local history and culture of this valley. I think one big priority is the old courthouse to resolve that problem. The other 2 are that I have is safety and welfare for the town of Taos citizens. Thank you.
Could someone check Mr. Struck's microphone, make sure it's on?
This mic may not work. It is switched to on. You're going to have to.
Okay.
I hope I have to start over again.
No, you don't have to start over again. Okay, I will make you do that. Okay. Okay. So now that was great intros, but we want to break it up a little bit with a lightning round. And the current town council has made some controversial votes. If you'd been on the council, how would you have voted on the following issues is my question. So we're going to pretend that I'm calling the vote. No explanation is wanted. A simple yes or no will do it. And so this first question is, and we're going to start with you, Nathaniel, is should the Taos Farmers Market remain on Taos Plaza? Yes or no?
Yes.
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 No.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Okay, now we're going to go questions that I'm going to draw out of this bag. And Darren, you're going to be the first one. And you get 2 minutes to answer the question. Let's see here. I don't even know what's in here. Okay. Do you support leaving Taos Plaza open to traffic, or should the plaza be pedestrian friendly? Oh, it's not friendly, only. And this is a question from a reader. you want me to repeat it?
No, I've got that.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be left open to traffic, as is Santa Fe Plaza and most downtown areas. I really don't feel that we have, I think that we need to improve the safety for pedestrians throughout the entire town, and we should look at that before we decide on closing off one area of the plaza. Especially, we need to take the concerns of the plaza merchants into consideration, because they get a lot of vehicular traffic, and we already are very short on parking spaces. So, by shutting off the parking, the vehicular traffic on the plaza and the parking that is currently available there, where are we going to park people? How are we going to get them safely? I think there's a whole lot of other steps that we need to take to get to that point before we can even have that discussion. Let's work on viable sidewalks downtown. Let's work on a park and ride system with better mass transportation, so we can make it a safer walking environment before we get to that question of, should we shut the plaza down?
Thank you. Okay, Jeff, this is for you. The town has recently faced a flurry of lawsuits from former employees alleging mistreatment and improper use of public funds. As a counselor, what would you do to ensure town employees follow the law and are treated fairly?
Wow, that's an interesting question. I think that comes from actually starts from the top and comes down from the mayor more so than from the council. I think you have to give out some courses as far as what is allowed, what's not allowed, and actually give some good guidance for it. I guess you would end up also having to have HR be able to step in and decide or try to help at an early stage rather than by the time termination has come along. I don't know how you would stop any of these things, but all you can try to do is make it a more complete working environment. There are courses, again, that can be required for everyone to take, and I guess you have to have an open means of communication to different levels of leadership going up the chain, so that these things can be taken care of hopefully before they get out of hand.
Okay, this is for you, Paul. Last year, the town sunk some money into fixing potholes and resurfacing some roads in the downtown area. But there are so many more roads that desperately need attention. How do you propose to get the town's roads in better shape and keep them that way?
Well, potholes, of course, are a big issue. And there has been a lot of improvement around Placitas and other areas recently. And I think there are plans to work on Salazar and Gusdorf as well, which I think are important. I ride my bicycle on Gusdorf, and dodging potholes requires some athletic skills. I think with discussions I've had with some of the people in town that the roads are a priority, and from my personal perspective, I think the roads reflect on the town. When people drive through, you want to have a pleasant experience and not be jamming through potholes. I also have an old Jeep that I take to the shop. It's 30 years old. And some of the people that run the auto shops say that potholes are a good source of revenue. But I don't know that we need to be taking revenue from ourselves as locals or the visitors who come. My solution for that really is to just set priorities and make it a budget priority.
Okay, you gentlemen are very soft-spoken. It's kind of refreshing, but you'll have to speak up close to the mic, okay? Not just you, Paul. Okay, Pavel. Parking, or rather the lack of it, in the downtown area is a long-standing topic for the town. What should the town do to finally address the situation?
I think Mayor Peralta, a while back, when he was a mayor, had a great idea, and that was negotiating with the McCarthys to build a parking structure where I think Tuesday morning is. And that idea died because the council shut it down. I think it was it was a brilliant idea. I know the town is considering also buying some parking lots that have been leased instead of leasing them. We definitely need more parking near the plaza. I'll answer somebody else's, another question. I would limit traffic to the plaza, but only in conjunction with more parking. I think the plaza can be rejuvenated. Downtowns in this country were dying until they realized that that's where the life is if you make them attractive. And just an example, I was walking down the plaza at 6 o'clock in the evening. There was a plastic bag floating in the air, and it was dead as a doorknob. We walked to John Dunn area. It was teeming with life, people milling around, stores were open. That just gives you an example. And most cities throughout the world have closed their downtowns and made them mostly pedestrian only. That's what brings people downtown and brings tourists downtown. It enhances business, and it's a beautiful place. And instead of paving, I would use pavers, just like on the alley behind the plaza. You don't get potholes with pavers. And besides the filling of the potholes, I would leave to Jeff because he does a lot of fillings.
Okay.
Expensive way to do it.
Okay, Pascualito. Tri-County operated a detox center in a town-owned building, but it closed when the furnace broke down. Given the huge problems we have with substance and alcohol abuse in our community, what is the town's responsibility in making this service available?
Thank you for the question. I worked with Taos Alive for several years when I was working with Rocky Mountain Youth Corps. So substance abuse is a very important issue to me. But I think it all comes down to socioeconomics. You can look at the data. It shows people who live in poverty, higher rates of drug abuse, higher rates of alcoholism, higher rates of domestic violence. What we need to do is institute a higher minimum wage. That way more people have more money, they're less stressed out, and Taoseños work very hard. There's no reason why we should be making $7.25 an hour. It's impossible to live on $7.25 an hour, even at 40 hours a week, especially given our very high rates of rent in Taos. So to combat drug abuse, I would say we need a higher minimum wage. We need to give people more money, and that money will be spent locally here in Taos. The economics don't lie. Take a look at Seattle. Take a look at San Francisco, instituting higher minimum wages. Huge job growth, some of the highest record job growth in the country, and also seeing lower rates of substance abuse, lower arrests, lower property crimes. They're all connected, and unless we address the root issues, we will never see a decrease in substance abuse.
Okay, Roger. The town currently limits the size of retail buildings to prevent big box stores from moving in. Should that rule be changed? Why or why not?
I think no. Why? Because Taos has a lot of people come to Taos to see the small shops, the plaza shops and such. They don't come traveling to come to Walmart, to any big box store. The only people who do that are the people who go from small towns to bigger towns for Christmas or such. But if we continue to bring big boxes, yes, that brings up more employment, but at what cost? They're usually minimum wage. Part-time, our big box store now, it's how many people are actually there even full-time, minus the benefits. The people who are the small places, they're the ones, luckily we have several that are still thriving and doing well, and so are their employees. And I think we need to focus on rebuilding, giving small businesses a chance, and not taking it away by bringing in the big boxes.
Okay, Mr. Robert? How will you, oh, this is kind of fitting for you. How will you ensure the Taos Police Department can attract qualified candidates?
This is a big question, but I tell you, the Taos Police Department is short on personnel. They can keep the police officers on their job because some other cities will promise a little bit more than what Taos can pay for any police department, any police officer. Now, at this time, if you see that you only see about 3 or 4 units during the day, at night, it will be the same. They're working 12-hour shifts. They're tired. They need to rest. They need a little bit more of help from us. We need to put them in a safety environment because by the time they travel from the north to the south, it's going to take them time to get and assist someone that is on an emergency. By the time they get there, it will be 2 police officers that will take care of any accident and 1 police officer that will be securing the other rest of the city. Now, it's to us, the public of Taos, to help these people on any accident, on anything that we have to do to prevent anything else that happened in our city. Thank you.
Okay, Melatonin, you're going to have to squeeze over so you can talk in the light there. Okay. Okay, Melatonin, what are reasonable solutions for easing traffic through downtown?
The traffic downtown, it's hard to do it, but if you can get the local people to use the side roads, different routes to get, especially during the summertime when we have tourists out here, it's problems that would be hard to solve because of our streets not wide enough, and yet if you go to Albuquerque, you spend 20, 30 minutes on one traffic light, and here we get tired of waiting 10 minutes. So I guess we're impatient to get wherever we're going, and so one of those probably just leave your house 10 minutes earlier. That will solve your problem.
Okay, Phil, this is for you.
Okay.
Okay. What has the town council done right in the last 2 years? What has it done wrong?
Wow. Well, they've done a lot of things right. And it has to do with everything that was been asked so far. You know, the planning and zoning recommendations have been given a lot of thought, and I like some of the outcomes. The farmers market on the plaza, I know the contract's up again pretty soon, and that, moving it from where it was here in front of Town Hall to the plaza, I think is the best thing they've ever done. The plaza's been around for a few hundred years. My grandparents have told me how they took their produce from Las Cordovas up to the plaza to sell on Saturdays. And why is that not a tradition that should stay there for all eternity? That's the one thing I think the council has done right. I think the council has done right by some of the events they've held in the plaza. Yes, they've closed it to vehicular traffic during the events, and I think that's right too. That was done way back when also. I think also some of the things they have in the future coming up are going to be questionable, but I'm sure they're going to be, the right decisions will be made. That's something that threw me for a loop. That's not even in my notes, Joan. Thank you. I mean, I have all this other things that need to be fixed, but a lot of stuff has been done right. Police department has been changed quite a bit since I've been, Patrick Trujillo and myself have been constantly talking to the hierarchy of the police department, and the changes have been made. I no longer see what was evident before, and that has to do with the new administration also. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't really, I've gone to a lot of the council meetings. I've seen a lot of the purchases that have been made, the new fire truck, the new backer truck, and other things. So far, so good. I think things are going well, and there's much work to be done in the future.
Okay, Nathaniel? What should be the town's role in addressing the affordable housing crisis?
The town's role in addressing the affordable housing crisis is to work with the county and the state in bringing in more funds to provide more support. Like I said before, we're 600 units short in this town. There are a few projects that are being worked on right now. The Chamisa Verde subdivision, there's 10 lots there. The RFPs have gone out. There's another option on the county yard, which is across from, it's on the south side of Herdner. There's also the Mary D. Medina building. So the town council has to work to make affordable housing a possibility and a reality. It's not something that's easily done, and it takes a lot of people's effort coming together. We need to work as a community about this. This is not an issue that is just limited to the town. It should be something that the county works with us about. In terms of affordable housing, it comes down to attracting people to live here. The Chief Weaver talked about housing for the police department, for attracting more police officers. The gap between the lowest earning people here and the highest earning is getting larger, and that's because there isn't affordable housing. It's not an easy issue to solve, and I don't believe there's one right way to do it, but we as a community need to come together and put our efforts together. I have students who are living in hotel rooms, ex-students, and that is unacceptable. As a community, we have to believe that that's unacceptable and put this on the forefront of what we're going to do in the next 4 years.
Okay, we're going to do a lightning round here. Here's the question. All right, we're going to call the question here. Would you have awarded $18,000 to support Taos' Cesar Chavez Day this past summer? Yes or no? Starts with Jeff.
No.
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 Yes.
No.
No.
No. No. Definitely not.
No.
Having a safety forum?
Yes or no?
No.
Okay. The next round, and it will be starting with Jeff. Okay. What should the town do to address problems with stray animals and probably lousy pet owners?
That's a good question.
Put chips in the bad owners. Little shock collar for that. A little shock collar for them. Well, one of the things that actually bothers me, as I've been watching, or just is the people who are driving with their dogs in their laps, and they think that's safe. And that that to me is one of the rules that isn't being followed very well. Even the same thing with the pets in the back of the trucks that are, to me, I don't know how they stay in there. The only option we really have here is, we have an awful lot of animals that aren't being fixed, and we have a lot of situations where there are some monies for that. There's an awful lot of volunteer work already being done by the veterinarians here, very nicely, by the way. I don't know that we're big enough of a community to really have a kill-free shelter or not. I mean, Santa Fe has a much bigger money source for these things. It's nice if we could get someone else to just say, come around and figure out how we can get more money for the shelters. That doesn't seem to be happening, and as a result, we're always running into problems taking care of these issues. So I think the primary thing that we can try to do is really work on getting the animals fixed early before they start recreating. Or I had the right word, but I can't figure it out. Anyway, before they start messing around, and that is possibly the only thing we can really do to start slowing this down. Just more responsibility there.
Paul? In 2014, Taos had the highest per capita property crime rate in the state, which the police chief in Gallup was relieved to hear. And what should town government do to address this problem?
Well, obviously, I think that touches a lot of issues that some of the people have already addressed. One, of course, is the lack of adequate police protection here and the ability to attract the officers. I would be in favor of additional $2 raise or whatever the amount would be to attract people, officers to come here. In addition, I think that providing the cost of living here is oddly high, at least oddly in my opinion, but some workforce housing for police officers, at least in this case, I think would be a program or a possibility that has been discussed. And of course, I think one of the other issues is substance abuse, whether it's people with mental issues or so, and I'm not sure exactly that the minimum wage is going to solve increases, they're going to solve substance abuse problems, but not having a treatment center is, or adequate treatment facilities is a huge problem, and I think that certainly needs to be looked at, and either some way to reopen the facility that already exists, find a way to do that. And another thing is with the youth, which is the third issue I think that is involved in property crime, and not blaming the youth. I work in the schools too. A lot of great kids there. But I think recreational opportunities for the youth might help them. From what I understand, the youth property crime occurs mostly in the afternoon when they don't have things to do. But there are several proposals there, and I'd be willing to entertain those suggestions from the community as to what might be the best alternatives.
Okay, Pavel. When the town spent more than $2 million to build the Echo Park in 2009, the pitch was that it would boost the economy as a high-altitude training center. That hasn't happened. What should the town do with the Echo Park?
I think the idea is still good idea. I think we need to get the word out more, and that should be done by our marketing department. And we have a marketing director, and actually that's something that I brought up at the last debate 2 years ago, when a question about economic growth and marketing was asked. I did suggest to hire a marketing director. In addition to that, I wanted the marketing director to be accountable to a marketing board consisting of seasoned business people in Taos, and then ultimately to the council. Look, Louis Bacon has done an unbelievable job of spreading the word about the Ski Valley throughout the country. My mother-in-law sent me an article from Fort Wayne Gazette, Indiana, half-a-page article on Taos Ski Valley. There was a 4-page spread in the travel section of New York Times. And if Louis Bacon can do it, then we can get the word out about Taos, the Echo Park, or anything else for that matter. And since I'm on the subject, I don't like the idea of hiring a Denver marketing company. They probably don't even know what an acequia is. I would combine efforts with Louis Bacon, sit down with him and say, okay, we're going to give you X amount of money, can we piggyback? Because Taos Ski Valley and the town of Taos are inseparable. And everything is about marketing, getting the word out, and the Taos News too. We want some good news on the front page, not always the bad news, because I subscribed to the Taos News before I ever moved here, and that's not really promoting the town. Put the bad news in the back next to the obits.
Okay, there's no such thing as good news or bad news, it's just news. Okay. Oh. Okay. Here's a question that comes from one of our readers. And as a counselor, you should expect questions of any kind from your constituents. So here goes. The last few years, Twirl, our local WIC office, and community members have celebrated breastfeeding moms during World Breastfeeding Week. This year, the celebration is August 1st through 7th. If elected to the town council, how do you see yourself supporting this celebration?
The celebration, breast cancer awareness?
No.
Breastfeeding awareness.
Breastfeeding, it's World Breastfeeding Week.
Surprisingly, this is a hot topic. I don't understand why babies need to be fed. I honestly don't know why it's such a big deal that a baby is being fed in public. We're so used to seeing breasts sexualized on TV, and we're okay with that. But we're not okay with a baby being fed. I would fully support breastfeeding awareness. Breasts were made to feed more than they were to sell.
See, you got something to talk about here. Good job, bro.
I don't know what more I can say.
Okay, Roger. Okay. Taos Valley is undergoing a multi-million-dollar overhaul, including a hotel called the Blake. What can the town do to ensure people will be inspired to stop in town and at our businesses instead of just driving through?
Taos is one thing we have in Taos, which I really appreciate compared to communities larger than us, is we have great restaurants, we have great hotels, we have a beautiful town for people to come to. And we don't have a lot of nightlife. There is some. But one thing that would be nice is if some shops, especially in localized areas like the plaza and the downtown area, stayed open later to make that more possible for them to come down here. It's pretty much a city up there on the ski valley, so they're making it so where people don't have to come down here. We need to continue to make it possible for them to come down here. I was out last night. I was hungry, and I thought, there's nothing open. We need to make places available to where people want to come down and people want to go out and do things. It's as Pavel mentioned in other communities around the world, the plaza is a place where people go to hang out and enjoy, and you see children together, you see the elderly hanging out, and we don't have that in Taos. And we need to build on that and continue building on that.
Okay, Robert. Let's see what here. The town currently doesn't offer building inspections, which is a drawback for anyone doing construction. What do you believe the town should do to offer what many consider is a basic service?
There's a few things that can be offered to any construction company that will be in that part. When you go to inspect and all that things. It's just sometimes they hired someone that is kind of hard to deal with. We have a lot of people that don't understand exactly what an inspection is. that the question, or there was misunderstood? What I understood that it's about getting something inspecting within the city. We have a lot of people that we don't really understand what it's all about. Thank you.
Militown? The town got the Mary Medina building on Gustorf Road for $1 from the state in 2013. Since then, thieves have gutted anything valuable in the place and it remains empty. What should the town do with this building and property?
What building is that?
The Mary Medina building on the corner of Grisalta and Gustorf.
Well, at this point, with two solutions. One, we can give it back to the state, who probably don't want it. The other one is, I think beyond repair, and it's a liability to the town, and it should be torn down and then go from there, either for affordable housing. I think that's one of the ways that we can get, but I think before we can do that, I think we have to go back to the state to see if they let us use it for affordable housing.
Or listed with Dreamcatcher Real Estate.
Okay, Phil.
Yes.
What do you think about the current administration's emphasis on events?
I feel that the majority of the administration want to have more events here. I agree with them. I think more events in the plaza, more events in the park. Also, you know, I had a discussion today with the tribal government, and first person to ever run for an office to go visit them in history, I was told. We need to get working with them and not have conflicts of interest with their events also, such as the Powwow and San Geronimo Day. Instead, we need to work together with them to make their events more and as well as ours. And I think more events will attract more people here. But also, too, people need to feel safe when they come to these events. So there we go back to the police issue again. So we need to up our police department so we can have these events, accommodate the people, because we need to make them feel safe when they come to Taos. The events that need to be a little bit marketed a little better. I know our marketing department is working on that. I've talked with Mitch Miller and Katrina, and it's going to be, you know, a lot of work to get it going, but we need to get it going and also work with the ski valley. When you come to Taos, it's Taos. People come to ski, they talk about skiing here, it's Taos. They see the Gorge Bridge on movies, it's Taos. They talk about the Pueblo, it's Taos. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in Taos. We need to work together in the Simeon Circle and create events and bring people here. We are now competing with Santa Fe. They decided to do a New Year's Eve event because we were doing a New Year's Eve event. They're deciding to do outdoor concerts in their parks and in their plazas. Last year they had Reverend Horton Heat. We need to keep up with our events here in Taos and keep the plaza open to events here in Taos.
Okay, Nathaniel. Several economists have suggested that Taos diversify its economy so it's less reliant on tourism. What industry has the most potential to grow in Taos, and what can town government do to support that growth?
The most important thing about getting industry in here is having a qualified workforce. We've seen Serious Wear leave, we've seen other businesses leave because we don't have a qualified workforce. It's important to recognize that there's many different issues within what a qualified workforce means. I think it really goes back to the opportunities that, you know, my generation, or I should say our generation, really have in this town, and to try to build those opportunities up. So we need to work with, I think that in terms of industry here in the town of Taos, we have or in the county really. It's not really a town issue. It is also a county issue because of the space requirements. We need to look into alternative energy and clean energy. We have the sun here. We have 300 days of sun in New Mexico, and that is a untapped resource. I know that there are companies that are solar companies that have been doing a good job and growing here in the town of Taos, and we need to kind of encourage people to return to Taos. And how do we get qualified people to return to Taos? I was lucky that I got offered a job teaching. I had no idea I was going to be a teacher, but it has turned out to be quite a lucrative job in this town because I get paid every 2 weeks. So how do we do that? We make Taos a more livable place. We make Taos a better place. We provide parks. We provide youth opportunities. We provide walking paths. We provide biking paths. We make Taos beautiful so that people want to come back. Because truth be told, most Taoseños want to come back, and a lot of people love being here. Thank you.
Okay, Darren, what can town government do to improve recreation and after-school opportunities for our youth?
Well, this is something that the town can't do alone, and we need to consider, the entire county here because Cuesta also has issues with recreation opportunities for their youth. There's been discussion about creating a regional, a regional recreational board or district, so to speak, so that throughout the entire broader community, there can be funds provided for various drug, alcohol-free events, not just at the Taos Youth Center, but the Cuesta Youth Center, and events that don't, conflict with each other. We can have events that encourage people to come in from Cuesta and spend some time in Taos, and that helps our GRTs too because they're buying gas in the gas stations, they're buying food. We also need to give Brian Greer and Melissa Vigil and their staff at the Youth and Family Center a lot of credit for everything that they have been able to do with the very limited resources that have been given to them for the past few years. I toured that center a couple weeks ago, and to see, how dedicated the staff is in light of leaks in the walls and ceiling repairs and everything else, really tells me that there is a heart in this issue. We need to buck up as a community, and if we can find the money to pay for a marketing director, we can find the money to pay for planning, we can find the money to put back into our youth, the future of this community. And that can also help us recruit more qualified job candidates. Sure, we can't compete on pay, but you know what? We can compete on a quality of life that is unmatched anywhere else.
One more, right?
I don't know, I think I started the last
Yeah.
one, I'm not
You
sure.
started the last round?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right, let's do another lightning round here. Okay. Do you support the airport expansion? Yes or no? So that was you, Paul, I believe?
Yes.
Let me guess.
Are you serious to ask me? Must I answer?
Yes or no, Pavel?
Okay, yes.
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 Of course, yes.
Yes.
C.
And it's unanimous.
Yes.
Okay. So now we're going to do round three. And round three is the questions are geared to each candidate. And I believe we're starting with you, Pavel, correct? Oh, Paul? No. If you just did the lightning round, then it's the next one. So, okay.
So it's me?
Yes, it's you. Contacted by a reporter about whether you were planning to run for town council again, you said, I feel like I've wasted my time on elections and on people that don't deserve me. So,
Really?
so does that scenario hold true this time? Why or why not?
Well, what arrogance. I was not planning on running, but I'm the walking definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. What prompted me to run is when I look at the fact that I ran 4 times, which amounts to approximately 16 years of others governing, ask yourself, are you better off today than you were 16 years ago? I'm quoting somebody famous, so I don't claim this question. I am very goal-oriented because I have to. All my life, most of my life, I've been self-employed, and if I didn't reach my goals, if I didn't pursue my goals, and the same thing applies to the council run. Tenacity and perseverance served me well, and we were faced with myriad of issues. I mean, we heard, from affordable housing to sports to marketing to if you can accomplish during your tenure 3 or 4 of those solutions, you're doing well. Tell me what solutions. Affordable housing. How long have we been talking about affordable housing? Where is it? It hasn't happened yet. So I have a verifiable track record of public service, having served 12 years on Planning and Zoning Commission, and part of it also on the Historical Preservation Commission. I have authored, well, in that limited capacity, I have authored what has become a new ordinance called streamlining. I was the first one who brought up the idea of roundabouts, and Councilman Hahn can attest to that. Those are not facts that are well known, and I ran out of time.
Okay, Pascalito. A part of your platform is to raise the minimum wage within the town limits. How do you think this plan is going to help local businesses?
Thank you for the question. Raising the minimum wage would give more people money in their pockets to spend locally. This argument happened in Seattle several years ago. The city council there passed a resolution to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, raised incrementally. They just went up to $11 at the beginning of this year. At first, the restaurants in Seattle were completely against it. They said, how are we going to survive? We can barely survive right now paying our employees minimum wage. But now they're all for it. Because what's happened? People have money, and what do they do when they have money? They go out and they spend it. So the restaurants are enjoying the benefits of a higher minimum wage. They're seeing record numbers of people coming to eat at their restaurants. And we could have that here. A higher minimum wage would mean more people going out to the movies, more people going out to the restaurants. That home improvement project that you want to do, now you can purchase your materials at Randall's or Ace and boost our economy. It also has side effects also. All those purchases, eating out at restaurants, going to the movies, fixing up your home, improving our GRT revenues here for the town. And I would propose spending those extra GRT on higher wages for the employees, including the police department, the fire department, the great workers over there at the Youth and Family Center, which would kind of start a snowball effect. Wages start rising, people start spending more money, businesses start making more money, so we can pay higher wages. We were stuck in the snowball going back the other way, where businesses were trying to pay less, so people had less money, so people didn't go out, so businesses made less money. And I want to start the snowball back the other direction.
Okay, Roger. Public officials must avoid a conflict of interest, and even the appearance of one. That hasn't always been the case in town government. As a director of the Taos Men's Shelter, how would you avoid that situation?
The Taos Men's Shelter does receive funds from the town, and they've been doing that before I was around. And from hearing our attorney for the town speak, Mr. Lopez, he's been very clear about what the state law is on that, showing that who's actually benefiting, the individual or not. If I have nothing to benefit directly, then it's not, I'm not I'm not breaking state law in that way.
Okay, Robert, you told me the reason you're a candidate is because someone posted on the internet that you're running for town council. Why is this a good enough reason to run for office?
Okay, there was an article that was posted on the internet. I'm not a political, but this is all because of the job I used to do, giving tickets to anybody that did not pay the meters, anyone that was parked on handicap or improper parking. This person probably is sad about it, but that was my job. I respected it. And for many years, I sold the Taos News on the corner of Cruz Alta and Bustorf. And there was people that were upset because I was selling the paper. But now let's go a little bit over when they can see the needs of people that are selling the newspaper now, and they're going to post it on the internet because they can do it. It's a free country to explain whatever you want to. Appreciate, like I told you, I will not dishonor my job, my family, or anybody that is close to the city or the county. Thank you.
Okay, Melaton, you told us your votes when you were a councilor were always done in the best interest of residents. You voted against allowing Smiths to have a gas station, which clearly has helped lower gas prices in Taos. Looking back, would you have voted differently? Why or why not?
Yes, I was one that voted for it. Basically, I voted against it because of the impact it was having on the neighborhood or the traffic that wasn't properly done. Once that was done, we had a good, I changed my mind on when all the issues were resolved. At this point, I still believe that Smith started off right, but I think they're just changing their ways a little bit and haven't really brought their prices down the way they thought that they would do. So at this point, I don't know if it was a good decision or a bad decision, but I think it helped the people that for gas and for news, and it's still a little lower than any other place in town.
Okay, Phil. How would you work with people you disagree with, including current members of the town council?
Well, you just don't make it too easy for me, do you? Well, like I said, I've been doing my homework, and I've been out scouring the county, talking to different people of business, and I said I had a nice talk with the CEO of the Taos Ski Valley, Gordon, and I've also had a nice talk with Taos tribal government and some other folks here in town. It's a majority vote, Joan. You know, there's 4 people, and then the mayor's there to break the tie. Necessarily, when I was in the military, I worked with a lot of people I didn't like. I didn't like their values, I didn't like their ethics, but I still worked with them. And when the job was over, I went my way, they went their way, and I met them the next day at 8 o'clock in the morning to do more work. But it doesn't mean I have to, like the person to work with them. disagreements are going to happen. And everybody sees things in a different way. And everybody sees things in how they're going to do things in a different way. Everybody has different beliefs. Everybody has different morals, and everybody has different ethics. Mine will differ from theirs. My belief in what needs to go on in this town might not be agreeable to a couple of the people that are going to still be left on the town council, but we'll have to work with them to get through the issues, especially the issues that are at hand that we've been talking about tonight: low-income housing, police department, events on the plaza, and just making the town a safer and progressing for the future. It's going to be hard, of course, but we're going to be working together, and that's what we're going to have to do. Do I have to call them every day to say hello and hi? No, I don't. But I have to work with them, and that's what I'll do. I'll work with them and try to get through these issues and try to get them solved.
Okay, Nathaniel, you've talked about creating opportunities for youth in Taos. So what about the rest of the residents?
Happy children, happy life. The rest of everybody, we care about our youth. Affordable housing is for the rest of everybody. Walking paths and bike paths are for everybody. I don't believe that my experience with the youth is a detriment to my representation on the town council. I think that my youth does bring some awareness to the fact that our children are being exposed to unnecessary risks. I grew up here in Taos. I know what it's like. Does that mean we need to forget everybody else? Absolutely not. Does it mean that it's a strength of mine that I understand what's going on with the youth right now? Definitely. It doesn't mean that I'm not interested in caring for the rest of the people here in Taos. My father lives here. My mother lives here. My second dad lives here. These are the people that have raised me to be the person that I am. It's important for us to recognize that as a community we need to come together. It's not just about the youth. It's not just about old people. It's not just about the Pueblo. It's not just about the people of Taos, the people of Taos County. It's important to recognize that we need to bring community together. And I feel that the youth are underrepresented, and my generation is underrepresented in town and county government and in state government as well. So do I bring the youth awareness? Yes. Do I feel that that's important to bring a balance to the council and to the government here in the state of New Mexico and the United States? Absolutely. So only in the fact that I have background with the youth does not limit my ability to understand and learn about everybody else in this community. Thank you.
Okay, Darian. This is your third run for office during the past 2 years. What do you say to people who think you're really trying to get a steady job?
Well, I'll tell you what. These are my work gloves from the Taos Ski Valley. In the winter, I'm a lift operator, and I'm damn proud of it. And I was glad to see Matt yesterday and JR today up there. And in the summer, I'm on the chainsaw crew. So I have a full-time job. I'm still in this because the issues that I raised 2 years ago as a candidate haven't really been addressed. Let's bring some focus back to the council and address the issues that really need to be addressed, which are, a living wage, which I discussed 2 years ago and is still being discussed in this forum, bringing a youthful representation and youthful energy to the council, which, is hopefully I've provided some sort of inspiration to Pascualito and Nats to step into this. So, I already have the steady job, okay? And I've got the hard work down part of it. These other gloves I brought with me are my firefighter gloves. I'm a volunteer firefighter. And to me, these represent a service to the community that I feel that I can contribute to the town council as your candidate who will listen to you, who will bring a focus back on the issues that really are important to us. Okay, let's get over the naming of Kit Carson Park. Let's get over the Cesar Chavez thing, and let's focus on minimum wage, or higher, an actual living wage. Okay, let's focus on affordable housing And let's focus on diversifying the economy by not just supporting the big box stores that come in, but putting our support back into the small businesses in our community, the business owners who are soccer coaches, little league coaches, hockey coaches, volunteer firefighters, working day in and day out, volunteering their time and man hours, and a lot of women hours, to make this community better. And by helping and reinvesting in our small businesses, we can move away from the fact that 40% of our economy is based in tourism, another 17 to 23% is based on Walmart, and let's bring some vitality back into this town. And by the way, let's raise some GRTs by legalizing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I spoke with Gary Johnson today about that one.
I agree with you, Ben.
Okay, this for you, Jeff. You have a busy dental practice. The work of a counselor involves more than attending Tuesday meetings. How would you be able to do both?
Well, actually, I've been trying to slow down my business so I don't have to be spending quite as much time at the office. I mean, I think I can probably survive on 24 hours a week in the office, and I can do the rest of the time and work rather easily as far as meeting the demands of the office at different types of hours. One of the things being in charge of my business is I also have the flexibility of just saying, I just have to close down now. I have to go do this right now, and I can do that. I've done it for recreational purposes. I've had a friend who used to call me up and say, let's go sailing, and basically all I had to say is, I'll be there, you tell me when I need to be there. And that's pretty much what I can do with my office. It's not a problem of it's just a problem of just trying to figure out what to do when and how to get around doing it. So I don't think that should be an issue whatsoever.
Okay, Paul. You moved here from Texas 2 years ago. What makes you feel you know Taos well enough to serve as a town councilor?
Yes, I'm from Texas. That's the evil word. I've heard that before. I've worked with the Democratic Party here as well, and I've heard that too. I did work for the Texas legislature. I can admit that. I have no problem with that. I worked for representatives from San Antonio and El Paso and Longview, which is a smaller town, bigger than Taos, from DeSoto, which is a small town suburb of Dallas. They have some big city issues, but a lot of the issues are somewhat the same wherever you go. It's education, it's healthcare, it's jobs, it's the culture and traditions of the place. And I've also worked on a local level for my neighborhood association where we dealt with tradition, preservation, culture of what was. And it's a very strong desire here for people who want to preserve that. I'm all for that. I've experienced that. I've worked with a lot of various people who bring different viewpoints. I've worked with a lot of people who disagree. I've had to hear people and very experienced with hearing different points of view and understanding them. People ask me why I want to run for office. I've been told this for a long time. Most of what they say is that I'm very compassionate. I'm very understanding of where people are coming from. As far as being from Texas, Taos is my home now. I'm here, and I'm here to work for you. Thank you.
Okay, we have one more lightning round here. The Planning and Zoning Commission voted last night to recommend the rezoning of an area just south of downtown between Los Pandos Road and Quesnel Street along Paseo del Pueblo Sur. It will go next to the Town Council. Now, I believe it will be solved before anyone here is elected, but where do you stand on this rezoning? Yes or no? And Pascualito, you're first.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Can I ask a question? I know,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
the specifics of the zoning, are we talking about changing it to CBD as per the recommendation, or are we talking about changing it to C2?
Per the recommendation.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Yes.
And now we'll do the closing statements. And Roger, you have 2 minutes to give your closing statement.
Time is starting. Good. I would like to ask for each of your support. This may be the Smith store, the whole thing, the rezoning. There was a lot to it, and I'm sure that there's a lot more to it, and I don't think that that's a good idea. Neighborhoods are at stake here. This plot of land that they're looking at rezoning, it would be so much will be put to better use if we put a housing complex in there to help with housing. There's okay. We have a lot of issues in Taos again. Many of them came up here: the plaza, the roads, the detox facility. There's potential in all of this to make such a huge difference, and we have the potential to make a difference. And the police department, they did get a raise recently. That's not enough. The youth center that's been worked on, we still need a lot more. The town council, what have they done right and what have they have done wrong? Well, give me a chance to do something wrong, and I will give you more opportunity to show that we can do something right beyond all this. And I thank you for your time.
Okay, you know, I hang around with probably 12 Vietnam vets every morning with a cup of coffee, and we talked about a lot of stuff that happened in our life. And one of the things that came out now that I put my name to run as a councilman, the guys asked me if I was gonna do as they asked me to do, yes or no. Yeah, well, if it comes to a question, if someone asks me if I'm gonna pay their street on the front of their home, if I get elected, I will say no or yes. Maybe? So, okay, the maybe comes seen all the time. And when someone is elected, he has to have another 3 members and the mayor that will decide yes or no. So myself is, I will not promise anything that I cannot keep to work with you, the town of Taos. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the Taos News for allowing all candidates the opportunity to share our views in public. In addition to speaking at the public forum, I'm available to speak with anyone who wishes to do so. I grew up in this community. I'm married to Lucille Struck, our son Rainer, an attorney in Albuquerque. My career occurs in this area. My siblings were raised here. I graduated from Taos High School. That means my heart is in the place and the people, and I would not be here if I didn't love Taos. My community activity working in security experience has taught me much. Besides what I have learned through serving on boards and commissions, I serve in the United States Army, specialized in communications, job training throughout workshops and place I employ at Kit Carson Electric. I have worked with many people of diverse background. Through this learning experience, I have described my ability to relate well to others. boards that I have served on, Extraterritorial Zoning Commission, the ETZ, Planning and Zoning Commission. I served in the town council. I learned a lot that public courtesy are a very important aspect of the town service, and I feel my experience and advice and Franco's as a board member will really help me with water and sewer issues, an important and critical aspect of Taos service. By service in the community, including Taos, one of the aspects that we passed when I was in the city council with the 2020 vision plan. We create a uniform code for construction in the town's limits. I'm in full with the budget important. I placed my action with my tool when I was in a school board member. I was interested in reducing the Taos Municipal School Board from 7 to 5 members. Now that was a challenge. So much for being more efficient. I feel I have something to offer to the community that I love and care. I'm ready to willing to serve. I believe that it's helpful to the people that it's worth making time for anything.
Milton, your time is up, please.
Well, just one more thing.
Okay.
I want to thank the candidates that are running for office for running a clean campaign in this election. Thank you.
Oh, it's my turn. Yeah, I was going through things in my head right now about what to say. Well, you know, we've all had many good things discussed tonight and a lot of good points made by the candidates. I especially want to thank each and every one of you for being here and for running. You know, you asked me a question about working with people. You know, I worked with a lot of people that I told you I didn't like, but we worked together. And that was when I was in the military. We had to work together. Our lives depended on it. But at the end of the day, the mission was completed. We went our separate ways. That, you know, that would be evident now on the council. The thing was, I asked a question the last election, and it was never answered. Remember that, Joan? The very first person asked a question. I asked each of the candidates what they were going to do about nepotism and race and demographic racism. I haven't seen the question answered, but I've seen the issues being taken care of. I see the diversity now within the police department and also within the public works and other aspects of the town. And that's very important. You know, we can't go back to that good old boys club. And it's not going to happen, especially with Pascal, Nathaniel, and Darian on this candidacy, as well as me. You know, I see the future, and it is the future of the younger people here. And I think that if you don't vote for me, vote for these three individuals here, because they're going to take care of the future here. We need to progress in a safe manner and progress safely into this future with the children that we have growing up here. The housing issue needs to be addressed. The jobs issues needs to be addressed. I'm willing to work with anybody else that I am going to be seated up here with to do that. And the only other persons I see that I'll be able to work with here is Pasquale, Darian, and Nathaniel. So, you know, don't vote for me, vote for those gentlemen. I'm done. Your turn, man. Come on, man. Make it good.
I want to thank everybody for attending this. It's important that we all participate this. I want to thank everybody who's online. I want to thank my fellow candidates here for participating and putting their names in. And I want to thank the Taos News for providing this forum. We all want Taos to be a livelier, healthier, and more prosperous town. We know that there are serious challenges that face this community. I've touched on them a little bit: affordable housing, youth development, and a need for pedestrian and bicycle-friendly travel. The only way that we're going to be able to address these issues is if we come together as a community and we come together as a government body. There's been issues that are brought up, and it seems like the disagreements become a little unnecessary, and we lose our vision of what Taos is. We need to maintain the culture of Taos. It's important that we recognize that the culture is changing a little bit. We also need to upgrade our infrastructure. In order to be able to address all of these issues, we need to support and foster local businesses. We need to bring in clean industry so that people have jobs, so that people want to return, and we need to make Taos a better place. A vote for Nathaniel Evans is a vote for Taos. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank everyone who showed up tonight, whether you're on this side or that side of the desk. This is democracy in action, and frankly, we need a lot more of it. You've all listened to a lot of really good ideas from a lot of strong candidates. I've got a whole notepad full of ideas too. But the reality is, it is just an idea unless you have, the willingness to put in the hard work. I just bought these a week ago. Unless you're willing to put in the hard work that is required of wanting to serve your community. And ladies and gentlemen in the audience, on TV, hi Mom, she's watching from California right now. I am your candidate. Like I said, you're not always going to agree with me on the votes, but I am going to listen to your concerns. I will respect your opinions, okay? And I view each and every one of you as Tauseños, okay? Whether you are multi-generational like me or so many other of these candidates, or even, our candidate from Texas, okay? If you love the water, you're a Tauseño. If you stop in the middle of the road to watch a beautiful sunset, you are a Tauseño. You are a part of the community, okay? And I will represent you because this is something we all hold dear. Thank you very much. And remember this, a vote for me is really a vote for Taos, but more importantly, is a vote for you. Thank you.
Well, I want to thank everyone for attending this and participating in it. I think really what it comes down to is one of the things that the council really has to be able to do is do things with the monies that it has. And right now, we are limited by our economy here. So before the council can really move forward and do things, we have to figure a way how to make a bigger base to work from. We can't raise the GRT anymore. It's already sky high. In fact, it would be nice to find a way, some sort of formula that if we can get enough other income that we could lower the GRT, because that's actually one of the most retroactive taxes that we have. If you don't have any money to have to pay 8% on top of everything else, it's just that much more of a burden. That being said, we need high quality jobs, and perhaps the airport might bring them. Perhaps the newer internet systems might help bring those jobs. Those would be higher quality paying jobs than anything else that we're going to have in any short period of time. That being said, short term, tourism might be our best bet as a segue to some other things. And right now there is a big motion or a movement to try to get the town and the county together and put together this concept called the recreational district. That would give the control of a group of people who would help take some of the tax monies from both sides and be in a group that can generate some interests and some recreational developments that'll take care of the kids and also take care of what drives Taos right now, which is tourism. Anyway, I just want to say how much I appreciate the whole process. I've learned a lot, and I certainly hope that Taos just goes forward. Thank you.
All right, I'm Paul Camprath. I'm looking forward to some votes. Maybe not too many. Yes, I am from Texas, but I will say one thing about that. I'm from the part of Texas that has values that are very similar to what Taos has, and that's why I came here. I did not go to Albuquerque. I take this job seriously, and having been from Texas and having worked for the House of Representatives, that's out in the open, and so I will own that. But I have sat on dice like this several hundred times, and there's a tremendous time commitment for a job like this, and there's, I believe, one council member who wants his life back. This is pretty much a full-time job, and I think it's all well and good to be doing some other things with your time, but I'm a person that's going to give my full effort to this job and not be splitting time doing something else to make money. Taos is important to me. Taos is my home. You've heard a lot of information tonight. I'm, again, welcome you for coming. And I do believe that I have the better experience, frankly, to make these decisions and to understand your points of view, where you're coming from, and to unify disparate opinions to create better policy. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. One pitfall of running for an office is overpromising. I think we see it on the national scene, we see it on local scene, and we've been living with it for year in, year out. The only promise I make to you is that I will over-deliver. We need to change our trade surplus. The commodity is our young people that go off to college and don't have any reason to come back. We need to change that. We need to create an environment that will attract them to come back into well-paying jobs. And that is a big challenge. But we're called the solar capital of the world. What are we waiting for? Why don't we have town lights throughout the town, solar powered, motion triggered? Can you picture that? We have dark skies ordinance. And this is what I bring to the table, is thinking out of the box, not everything you heard a million times. Just picture you have dark town, but if there is a movement, somebody walking, driving, the lights light up. The police chief will love that, because in pursuit of some criminal, all they have to do is raise the drone and they'll see the lights coming wherever the criminal is. So what's wrong with that picture? And you can put the solar lights on a tree. You can put them anywhere. They will be innocuous. What are we waiting for? Solar power. We have 320 days a year. It's shining upon us. So should I earn your vote? Believe me, I'll over-deliver. That is my promise to you. Thank you.
I'd like to thank the Taos News, my fellow candidates. I've heard some really great ideas tonight. I'd like to thank the people who are streaming online, many of my students who are becoming politically aware for the first time and who might be voting for the first time. Really exciting for me. We're at a turning point in Taos, in the nation, and indeed the world. Taoseños have an opportunity to elect a council to precipitate the change necessary to move Taos into the future. What can the future of Taos look like? It looks like a Taos leading the nation in self-sustainability. I have to give Mr. Luke's credit, that was a great idea. It looks like average Taoseño earning a wage that reflects how hard we work. It looks like a government we can trust. If you're concerned about developing our economy, I'm your candidate. I have the understanding of economics set on a solid foundation of mathematics. I'm not afraid to dig through that 100-page budget. I'm not afraid to do economic analysis. I'm local. My families have been here for generations, and I have no other place that I can call home, only Taos. If you're concerned about preserving our culture, I'm your candidate. Si usted está preocupado con la pérdida de nuestra lengua y cultura, yo soy su candidato. I'm young. I'm thinking about the long-term future of Taos. If you want a council you can trust, I'm your candidate. Take a look at my record. From my service to our country, to my nonprofit work, to choosing to teach, you can be sure that I will make decisions that will put the people first. I hope that I've made a believer out of you tonight, but if you're still unsure, please join me at the Kit Carson Electric Boardroom, February 13th, from 4 to 6. I hope to see you there. Thank you all.
you can give them a bigger round than that. They think they did a good job. I want to make an announcement. If you haven't heard enough tonight, you can go, there's going to be another candidates forum, and it's put on by the Taos Reading to End Racism program. That will be Wednesday, February 10th, 5:30 sharp till 7:30 at the Kit Carson Electric Co-op boardroom. And it believes that the focus will be on how we can all help to eliminate racism. So, thank you, candidates, for your participation in tonight's forum. And for those of you in the audience here and elsewhere, I hope their answers help you decide when you vote. Thank you to our co-sponsors, the Taos County Chamber of Commerce, UNM-Taos Digital Media, and the Town of Taos for allowing us to use the space. Also, special thanks for the town staff under Valerie for assisting us with this building. Videos of tonight's forum will be available on taosnews.com, taos22.com, and taosgov.com in the near future. If you want to see, if you guys want to see what you look like. And here are some dates to remember. Absentee voting has already begun. Early voting begins February 10th and will end February 26th. We'll be running candidate questionnaires in the February 11th edition, and make sure you get your questionnaires to me by 4 o'clock tomorrow. And our endorsements will be in the February 18th issue, and that won't be an easy task for us. Finally, we urge everyone who is a registered voter in the town of Taos to participate in this election. Your vote could make the difference. Thank you and good evening.
Oh my God.